All right, it is time for the John Riggins Show, May 12th. We got cicadas, the NFL schedule. Hopefully we're going to get above, 75 degrees at some point with spring here. We got a special guest in studio. It's time for Riggo.
Well, thank you, Todd. Yes, it is. And my lovely youngest daughter, Coco, is with us today. As you all, the true blues that watch the John Riggins Show on a regular basis have seen Coco here before. Coco, how are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you.
It's nice to have you along. By the way, let's just get right out of the blocks with this because it was something we were going to do last week, but Coco's schedule would not allow her to participate.
Her agent is pretty tough.
Yeah, exactly. But very fortunate because
I am a busy woman.
It's true. Coco, you have a blockbuster story to tell. We couldn't do it last week because we was afraid her older sister would maybe see it, and then it would ruin the surprise that Coco, how should I say this, kind of, there's a term for it, and it is a country term for where I think Coco hornswoggled her mother.
Oh.
She was able to get information that she didn't know that she would have been advantageous to know.
If anybody can do it, Coco can. This I know.
And I was so disappointed in her because I'm going, wait a second. That's classic Coco to keep hammering away at something. That's just how Coco operates.
No waterboarding, no.
Yes, well,
no Gitmo techniques.
Let me say, Todd, it feels like waterboarding after a while. It does. But anyway, Coco, go ahead. Tell the story from the very beginning.
Okay, well, from the very beginning, like a couple months ago, my mom, she works at the USO, Best President.
Big deal. Big
President,
big
CEO,
lady.
and president.
She's a big lady. And she told me that, like, on one of the meetings, one of their supporters is Monte. Now, if anybody who doesn't know, Say Yes to the Dress, Atlanta will not know Monte, but me and my sister Hannah, shout out to Hannah, every single day, like during summer or just like throughout the year, we would watch Say Yes to the Dress, Atlanta. We love Monte. He's the best. And so my mom told me that, like, during one of their meetings, since he's a supporter, he made an appearance, but it was over Zoom. But he made an appearance for them, and, like, she talked about, and, my mom told me that he has, like, a hair cuttery, or, like, a salon. And so I was like, oh, my gosh, like, Mom, you need to become best friends with him. Like, this is a big deal. And
now, I've seen Say Yes to the Dress, and, that ain't exactly my cup of tea. But
You're saying no? Saying no to the dress?
But Monte, and then there's not a co-host, but there's two shows. One in Atlanta. Monte is the star, or one of the stars. And then they have another show in New York. And a guy by the name of Randy is on in New York.
Randy. We also love Randy.
But Monte, I've seen enough of it. I'm not, I don't want this to get out too far, but I've seen a few shows, and, it'll hold your interest for a little while.
Monte brings it? Does Monte bring it?
Yeah, Monte.
Like girlfriend bringing it?
Monte's got it going on. Go ahead.
Monte's the best. And so then flash forward to now. My mom is, like, telling me and my sister, like, oh, I got a big surprise for you on Saturday. And I didn't really think of anything of it.
This is last week.
Yeah.
Meaning for this past Saturday, but it was week before.
Leading into Mother's Day.
Exactly. The day before Mother's Day.
Yeah, and I didn't think that much about it. I was like, okay. And then my mom goes to Florida, and then she comes back, and that night she mentions it again. She's like, because it was on Sunday night she came back, and that upcoming Saturday was the surprise. And she mentions it again. She's like, oh, you better be ready for your surprise. And I was like, I feel like it has something to do with Monte. And I can't tell you, Todd, like, why it just came to me, but I just had a gut instinct. I felt it in my loins.
But you didn't let on. I mean, in other words, you weren't actually thinking or worried that maybe it does have something to do with Monte.
I had a feeling. I have, like, really good intuition. And
I guess so.
Monte might have been sending some vibes, girlfriend.
No, yeah, I was getting the vibes. I was like, I feel like it has something to do with Monte. And she's like, where'd you get Monte?
So your mom she couldn't fake it.
No, she just.
Well, keep going, dude.
And then I was like, yeah. And she's like, that's so random. Like, I don't know why you would think it's Monte. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I get this kind of like this tick where I keep on asking questions because when I talked to her about it.
It's like she's natural born inspector. It could be, you know.
Tell us where you were on the. She had Lisa Marie confessing to the kidnapping the Lindbergh baby.
Yeah, she can solve it all.
I would be.
She actually takes a lot after her mom.
This is true.
And she, because like when I mentioned it, she was kind of shutting down, and to me, I was like, why is she like not talking about it? And I was like, hey, Mommy, like when are you gonna become best friends with Monte? Like, aren't you gonna become best friends with Monte? Like, when are we gonna get in touch with Monte? I was just bugging her about it because I was like, because every time I asked her, she'd be like, I don't know. I don't know.
Go do your homework.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, why aren't you answering my questions? So then I was just getting more annoyed and building it up. And then eventually, like, I kind of just dropped it. And then I went into my bedroom. But like I said, I still had no idea what the surprise was. I just had a feeling, but like I didn't know for sure. And then I go into my bedroom. My mom comes in. And she's like, how did you know? You couldn't have just pulled Monte out of your butt. And then I was like, what? No way.
She gave it away. She didn't know she had the goods on her.
Yeah,
That's how you trick criminals into confessing. Is you come up with something like you keep hitting them, they go,
you know that we know, right?
Yeah.
I did it. it.
What did you do?
No, exactly. And I was like,
it was great. I was like, she broke. You broke it. And I'm thinking to myself, and I said, boy, that's classic Coco. She just keeps hammering away, and all of a sudden, LM started thinking, she already knows.
Yeah.
A golf clap.
So anyway, that's why Coco did know last week, but of course, at that point, Hannah didn't know.
Oh, yeah, that's a big deal.
So we got to keep it.
So that's why we had to keep it on the QT. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, go ahead, dude.
Well, so yeah, and then I eventually we're like driving there. It's the day of, and I'm just ecstatic. And we're driving there, and we're like driving by his salon, and we have to cover Hannah's eyes because it says his name like Monte on like the salon, like in big.
It's down in Alexandria.
Bold, yeah.
Old Town?
Alexandria. Yeah, I think so. I mean,
it's got to be Old Town.
It's in Alexandria. That much I do know.
Yeah, I think so. And so it says it, and we had to cover Hannah's eyes. We're like, oh, we can't show her yet. And while we're covering her eyes, and then my mom points, and he's there on the street,
Mom's
and I like start
outside.
freaking out, like, and but then we park the car, and then we go in there, and I was like holding Hannah, and I was like, Coral, because I call her Coral. I was like, that's another story. I'm like, Coral.
For another time.
This is a moment in history for us, like you don't understand. And he comes out, and it was just amazing. He was like, so I have one of you for a mullet and the other one for a mohawk. And he's just the best. He gave us a tour of his salon and everything, and he couldn't have been more sweet. And like,
where's the video? Come on, we could have had a little B-roll here.
My mom has video.
I guess we have to see. I think LM did take some video, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they said he couldn't have been more. He just could have been more gracious. And,
he was so.
The greatest thing was, and I don't know, at some point, I think his receptionist put the name together and said, by the way, but Monte, do you think he has a clue who Joan Riggins is? I don't know.
That's why he came up with the mohawk.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, no, he was the sweetest. He was so funny, and that's why I have a little haircut going on right now.
Oh, very nice, Coco. Well, that's an awesome story.
Thank you.
And you got I'm sure there's a lot of teenage girls and young ladies out there who are very jealous.
Yeah,
well, and Hannah, as I said, they saw, like you said, they saw him before. And did Hannah see him too? But did she know who he was at that point?
On the street.
When you saw him out on the street?
I covered my eyes. I covered her eyes. She didn't know until we got into the salon.
Oh, and he steps out.
And he steps out,
oh, that
and
must
we're
have
like,
been I mean, it's funny, but their dad is Joan Riggins, and they treat me like a dog. Hey, can you go get me another glass of water? It's like Monte.
Riggo.
Monte, yeah. It's like,
you said Monte at first. I went, Colin Montgomery, world-class golfer. Maybe he's a USO supporter.
Exactly.
Wrong Monte.
I remember him. Vaguely.
no, yeah, he's.
Okay, so now I've got a little story to tell real quickly. I think it's tomorrow. Yeah, I think tomorrow. I'm going turkey hunting. No. Unless you think that I'm heading out towards Ashburn. No, I'm not going out in that direction.
It's a different hunt.
That's a different turkey, and that's a different time. So I'm looking forward to that. I haven't been turkey hunting in about 3 or 4 years, so I'm all getting gunned up.
Are turkeys always in season?
No. They got a spring season and a fall season. Spring season is when is the season of love, as it is for many animals in the world, including humans. And so this is the time that is the mating time. And what's interesting about this, I've never done it. I'm curious to see what happens tomorrow. And I've hunted my farm in Kansas several times, And I've killed several birds, but it's always kind of like I get the stupid one. I never get one. I mean, because
The bird's like, I'm right here. Don't hurt me. What are we
He's
doing?
like, gobble, gobble.
I can gobble? Oh.
he said, "Hey, for crying out loud,
You already
I'm
know
a
I
turkey.
can't. You already know I can't fly.
I'm a turkey.
Where
I'm a
did Jimmy
turkey.
go?
Taking advantage of a turkey." But actually, though, I don't think they're overly smart. I mean, let's face it, their brain's the size of a walnut. I mean, if it's that big.
Not a lot going on there.
But talk about eyeballs. Now they can see, they can see your eyelash or whatever from like 50 or 60 yards. But anyway, I've killed, but I've never been able to call one to me because you go. You make yourself sound like a hen. There's all kinds of putts and clucks and all this stuff. But I think once that happens, that you really get into it because you actually start talking.
Well, what will you use? Do you have a call? You have,
I've got a box
like
call. You got a box call and a diaphragm call you put in your mouth. With a box call, you got a, and then a diaphragm goes under your tongue.
Oh, yeah. I've seen that.
So we'll see what happens. Anyway, I got that going on.
Well,
but you've got a lot of stuff going on.
Well, that's fun. And so back to the mating season and something that we haven't seen in 17 years. Here, as we're going to get into nature here in TJRS, the cicadas. So we were going to talk about them for about the last 2 weeks, and we've kept holding off because the weather has not cooperated. And we wanted to get Coco's opinion because this will be, you're 16 now, right?
Yeah.
She was unborn the last time the cicadas came.
And
she was in her mom's womb.
So what have you heard in the build-up to this, the expectation? Have you talked about it? School, with your parents?
Haven't really talked about it at school. I mean, they've mentioned it. I actually had a lesson about it with my grandma, and she taught me all about it. So I know actually a lot more than I kind of need to know about cicadas. I know their whole routine.
Granny get off key here or something like that?
They're not that freaky.
No.
Now there is going to be
They should have been here by now, I think.
They should have been here, but the weather has been so bizarre.
Go ahead.
That's what I heard. That it's just gonna be like a swarm, and it's like almost gonna be the end of the world with cicadas or
Pretty
something
much.
like trillions.
It's like pestilence almost. I
Yeah.
mean, back,
And
this stuff. Go ahead, Coco. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh no, but I was just saying you won't see me outside. I'm gonna be.
Well, this is what's going to
locked
be
in my
interesting
room.
because her and her sister are deathly afraid of insects.
Well, then
Deathly
this is going to be a
afraid.
problem, as you know. Because it's
you mean-
billions. It's billions. I mean, they're actually saying trillions now.
Trillions?
Trillions.
Like this is going to be a bumper crop.
Yes.
Like an all-timer.
Oh, I don't know.
Yes.
It's going to be a record year. I thought the last time they came in 2004 was pretty impressive. I mean, the weirdest thing about this is they are so thick. What I recall is driving down the road, the sound that the crushing of the bugs make, that it's just like,
It is. It's disgusting because they take over the roads, and when you wake up, sometimes on your cars, depending upon where you can park or whatever, your windshield in your car is your car, and it's thousands of them. It's hard to imagine anything at this volume.
Yeah.
But they're talking trillions now.
But there's a reason for that, and it's biological, and I don't want to get into it.
And we're at
but
ground
it's almost-
zero.
we are, and it's where that they come in such volume that you get to a point where if you're a predator that eats insects, you're going, I just can't eat another.
Yeah.
I just can't eat another cicada.
Literally, that's what they
I'm
say.
Stuffed.
They say
I'm
the
stuffed.
predators
Give me a butterfly. Give me a caterpillar. I just
I
can't.
saw this one great thing, and they got all the predators sitting on the side with I just ate the all-you-can-eat buffet. I just can't do this anymore.
Exactly. It's not going to happen.
can't
I know I got to
do
wait for
this.
another 17 years, but I've had it.
But
I've had it with cicadas. No more cicadas for 17 years.
Seriously?
Yeah, let me tell you, though, 34 years ago, you remember right over here in Tysons Corner, there was a famous bar, fairly famous, started down Georgetown, Clydes. I forget exactly what my excuse was, but I was
know this.
I think, Coco's heard this story before, but so I went down there. I started in, the afternoon, but somewhere along the way, I have a black felt hat that I've worn on the show. I've had it for quite some time, obviously over 30 years. And I found one of these cicadas outside one day, and I put him on my hat, and so I walk into Clyde's. And I'm in there, I'm in Clyde's, and so, what's that, Coco?
It's like a little pet.
He was like a little pet. I can't remember if I named him. I think I might have. Maybe I called him Clyde. I can't remember. But so we're my friend and I, we're at the bar, and and basically, day turns to night, and I'm still at the bar, and then I go home, still got Clyde on the hat, and I get up and we do it all again the next day. And so by about 3 or 4 in the afternoon, though,
Clyde and him are drinking buddies at this stage.
Yeah,
about 3 or 4 in the
developed a
afternoon,
nice
I'm like,
relationship
I
with
think it's time for me to go home for good this time. So before I left, I take the cicada, throw him in my mouth, and ate the damn thing right there at the bar. And I got to tell you something. You used the word disgusting a second ago. But, you know, I'm John Riggins, so I couldn't really go, I just kind of.
Wait, were people watching you or something? Was this some sort of trick?
Mostly. I'll tell you, Hatchet, I don't know if he was probably behind the bar.
Tony Hatchet, AJ, our good buddy who's at American Prime now, he told me this story a few months ago in honor of the cicadas.
So he was there.
He was there.
Yeah.
And he said it's the most amazing thing he's ever seen because people were so stunned. And the visceral reaction of people were actually throwing up.
I don't recall that.
He said some of the people were actually got sick, and you were sitting there, and you were in for a penny, in for a pound of cicada, and he said the crunching sound was just.
Let me say something.
Why?
I almost would have joined the people at the vomitorium because I got to tell you, and I'll tell you what the worst part was. It was either the legs or the wings. I can't remember because when I tried to swallow, it just like. Right here in my throat, I can't. You know that gag reflex.
Scotch or something to wash
I'm
it down.
telling you.
So Coco, it's that guy right there.
And she hadn't seen one yet, but that what you're looking at there, dude, is about that long.
About 2 inches.
Yeah. Oh, a good 2 inches.
2 inches, and he said
the wings. It's over. I bet
he said the wings. One of the wings was coming out of the mouth.
Oh my God!
I look like a lizard. Just grabbed one with a big long tongue, grabbed one, and still a little bit left.
An all-time legendary cicada story at Clydes of Tysons.
Yeah, you had to be 34 years ago. God, it just seems like it was
That ain't
yesterday.
right.
And let me say, I don't know. I mean, I would perhaps definitely if I was starving, I'd eat a cicada. But I think you can cook them. Actually,
John, there are restaurants in town that are serving them. They're high in protein. There are restaurants that have cicada specials.
But I bet they ain't with the wings on.
Yeah,
you order with wings or without wings. And maybe take the legs
How
off.
do you like
too.
your wings? You want your wings hot, spicy?
Of course, the legs got muscle in them, so I don't know. But definitely the wings don't have no muscle.
But that's part of the legend of John Riggins.
Yeah.
That's one of the all-timers.
Dad, you'd be good. You'd be good on his show. James Corden has a little special on his show where he invites celebrities, and it's called "Fill Your Guts" or "Spill Your Guts," and it's like "Spill Your Guts" or "Spill Your Guts." It's like a round table. He asks the celebrities questions, and if they don't answer, they have to eat something on the table, and it's like cow's tongue, 1,000-year-old egg, like.
1,000-year-old egg. Oh wow!
Like,
you probably have had some very exotic stuff in your travels. I got a feeling.
I think the most exotic was I had muktuk up in Kotzebue, Alaska, which is basically walrus blubber. Oh. And the guy told me before I ate it. He said it's a little bit rancid, but it's still okay.
So you don't even have fresh muktuk? You got rancid muktuk.
He took the lid off.
You're going to get what you get and you don't get upset.
What's that, dude?
You're going to get what you get and you don't get upset.
Exactly. When he took the lid off, I thought I was in the toilet. Hey, courtesy flush.
Wait a minute,
courtesy flush. And I'm thinking, do you people eat this thing?
What is supposed to be like jerky or something? But
it was not good.
How about when you were hunting in Africa and some of your international travels?
Well, I mean, but that stuff is really, antelope and that kind of stuff. That's to me, impala and that. But there wasn't anything real exotic or anything. I mean, I don't go for that stuff. I'm not Anthony Bourdain. I'm not like I'll try anything. I go, I don't eat innards as a rule. No, not as a rule. Yeah, as a rule. I don't think there's an exception on that. I remember one time in London, we went to this. I was over there doing something, and we went fishing in the afternoon. The Brits are all proper, and they've got their wellies on, and they got their, their barber coats on, the wax cotton, and all this stuff. And I'm like, well, yeah, okay, let's go do something. And it's fly fishing. I hadn't started fly fishing yet, but I did catch a big trout. The only guy that caught a fish, which was kind of interesting. But anyway, we go in, and so but before we fish, we're going to have lunch. And I said, oh, what is it? Shepherd's pie. And I go, yeah, okay. And of course, I'm eating the shepherd's pie, and all of a sudden I'm going, and it's kidney, it's lamb's kidney, and I went,
yeah, the Brits, they got some strange dishes, and boy, they're just not real good at the food
I'm sure
thing.
if you grow up eating it, like liver and onions, but anything I could do.
Always amazed me how close, the UK and Britain to world-class food in France, Italy, Germany, and how their food is just awful. It's so bland.
It's like, well, I guess beef Wellington or something like that, or what is it? And there's another thing that they make. What is it? And of course, it's beef, but maybe that is it, beef Wellington.
That's
I can't
about
remember.
it.
But basically, I think over there, you go to England, you go to London. And you eat all the other, like you eat a lot of Indian food. There's a lot of good Indian food there. But I don't think very often, let's go to an English restaurant. There ain't no such thing as an English restaurant.
Bangers and mash?
That's about it. It's pretty good. You can make that at home. By the way, just for the record, now that I think about it, I thought basically that for those folks that want to eat a cicada, they see this show and they think, well, I'm going to try it and see if he's telling us the truth. But basically, it's kind of like eating pickup sticks, If you can imagine some pickup sticks, it's like...
What are pickup sticks?
Those things you drop and then you fish them out, pickup sticks, or toothpicks. It's like eating toothpicks.
Or a skewer.
Yeah.
Oh, my...
Basically, it's a pickup stick.
Bamboo skewer.
Oh.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay.
All right, got a few tidbits here for the Washington football team.
Okay.
And one story in particular I've been wanting to run by you because this hit late last week. This is from the Richmond Free Press, and author is Fred Jeter, and he's doing a recap on the draft and talking about Jamin Davis. The title is Jamin Davis to be key building block for Washington. Okay. As we talked about him, the 19th overall pick, first player ever drafted by Martin Mayhew, the new GM. So,
as the GM,
as the GM,
or just here in Washington.
He's the GM. First year GM here in Washington. This is his first pick.
He wasn't he the GM in Detroit.
He was. Okay, but this is his first
here.
Exactly. Official. So, Jamin pre-draft credentials. So we were talking about his height, and I said that he reminded me a lot of what I saw of Sean Taylor. So he is 6'3", 6'3.5", 234. Sean Taylor was 6'3", like they listed him at 230. 4.48 speed in the 40, 42-inch vertical, 11-foot standing broad jump. Now he redshirted as a freshman at Kentucky. All right, so John, he became a full-time starter late in his third year. And this is where he made his hay, right? He had 102 tackles, fourth best in the SEC, 3 interceptions, very athletic. He was first team all SEC for Kentucky at 5 and 6. So he chose not to play his senior year, wanted to go in the draft, but has not played a lot of football in general, college football in particular. So now he wore number 44 at Kentucky. This is where it gets interesting.
What number did Coco Riggins wear, dude?
44.
Okay, dude's on it.
All right, so he wore 44 to honor his grandmother, who died, unfortunately, at the young age of 44. And this is where Mr. Jeter got my attention. And, it's we went through this last 2 years ago when Mr. Dwayne Haskins, number 7, and Joey T., and gosh, will Joe let him wear it? And can he do it? We went through all that mishmash. And so Mr. Jeter says here that number 44, worn by beloved Washington running back John Riggins, is retired by Washington, but could be brought out of retirement if Riggins agreed.
Where do you come up with that?
I don't know. I'm going directly to the source, John.
First of all, my number's not retired. So he's got bad information right out of the block. The only number that I'm aware of that is retired is Sammy Baugh's. I think
that's my understanding.
No, it's not 37. What's his number? That was Pat Fisher, was 37.
So this means like nobody else can wear 44?
Yeah. It's a number, for crying out loud.
There are a handful of numbers that the team has not allowed players to wear, going back to Sonny.
Right. And I'm sure Charlie Taylor, Bobby Mitchell.
Theismann up until the Dwayne Haskins. And
I'm thinking probably Darryl Green's number probably isn't given out. 28.
And it's weird to this day for me to see all these 66s and all these 72s, because that's Joe Jacoby and Dexter Manley in my mind. And anytime I see guys wearing those, it's just kind of weird. But
it's the same thing. But, you almost think, on the one hand, I don't know who started it, but, it is what it is. And what are you going to do? After you burn through, there's only so many numbers between 1 and 100, unless you start going, if you start numbering people, give them 3 numbers instead of just 2 or 1,
Or how about I want to
Okay.
be
Or put
I
a
want to
letter
be
in.
pi. I want to be 3.14.
Oh, that's a good
Right?
one.
Or you
That's
mean
a
just
good
the
one.
just the
Or like
sign
-2.
-2? Oh, that's another. Dude just brought up something. Go negative. Go in the opposite direction. You know? Why not?
Square root of 5. Whatever.
Oh,
whatever.
five.
But yeah, I mean,
Squared.
to me, the only thing I would have, clearly, I don't take this serious or not. I don't know what Joe, obviously, he didn't have a problem with Dwayne Haskins, but I would be curious to know, and I'm going to call Joe, and I'm going to find out. Did Haskins pay him? He's a first round draft pick.
Little something for the effort.
Well, think about this. There were some guys that came here years ago that, some of the guys that were like on the B team, and they had somebody's number who would come in as a free agent, and he was definitely A team. And guess what he did? He paid the guy so that he could have that number.
It actually happens quite a bit, John. I think when D'Angelo Hall came, he came over and somebody else. It happens all the time. And these guys, usually there's a quid pro quo. It's gotten goofy. I know for a fact with some players that
Six
have
figures?
and then they have reneged and not actually paid up, which has led to some bad locker room stuff going down or whatever. So I just found it fascinating. It's more tongue-in-cheek than anything else because I'm sitting there going, really? Because, John, we got to make a couple calls, see where the bidding starts here, and see how bad Mr. Davis wants that number.
Well, clearly, if I had anything to do with it, that's exactly what would be the protocol we would follow. We'd reach out to his agent and say, it's under my understanding that he would like to buy the 44, and it's on the block, but it's only if. What's the line? If the price is right. But seriously, I've got no power over that. I think the team, in the past I have no idea what the real official thinking is on this, but they've been reluctant to give out these numbers. But you know what that reminds me? It was a few years ago the team gave out Bobby Mitchell's number. Do you remember that?
Yeah,
and
it's
that
coming back
caused
to me.
Bobby was not very happy about that. What I recall.
Right.
But
I do recall that.
Personally, I'm an ex-employee. What do I don't have any say over what goes on out there. That's what. And let's just assume that I did. Have you ever heard that old expression? Go pound sand. Something tells me that's what I would hear. Hey, what are you doing? Hey, Riggo. John Riggins. Go pound sand. Okay, I guess you got me there. I'm done. Okay, well, let's just set the record straight here. If Jamin wants that number, he has my blessing. Knock yourself out. But you got to be careful, Jamin, because that number could haunt you a little bit. There's a lot of high expectations, and there's other things you have to live up to. And I don't know if you're that guy.
You have to eat a cicada.
That's the first test.
Yeah, maybe. If you eat a raw cicada, live cicada. Now, think about the live portion. We didn't even get to the fact that this cicada was live.
He was still
Pops
going.
was, he's like, hey, where are we going? What are we doing?
He wasn't
just
going.
drinking, having fun.
And I didn't dip him in mayonnaise or anything. I just let's go.
No hot sauce.
Grizzly man.
All right, so the other big thing that's happening today, it's actually happening tonight, is the release of the NFL schedule. And this falls in line with the draft and a great non-event that the league has maximized to the ultimate hype value beyond. We live in a supply and demand world, and I get it. We already know who the opponents are. We discussed that.
It's a matter of where you play.
So now,
is it a matter of where you play and when you play?
The home opponents have been determined. The away opponents have been determined. Now it's how it flows within the context of not 16 but 17 games schedule. First time ever, and with the addition of a 17th game, Redskins have a brutal. They've got a brutal. They have the 15th. I know it's based on past performance, but
we never know.
Okay, but
you never know.
But look at the teams.
Okay.
Look at the teams that we discussed before. How many were in the playoffs, and how many? That's the point. I think most of these teams are going to be good for it.
Let me stop you there and just say Washington was in the playoffs.
All right. Well, let's talk
Does that
about
tell
these
you
guys.
anything?
All right, New Orleans Saints. You think they're going to be good for it?
No Drew Brees.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Tom Brady. He's over the hill.
Kansas City Chiefs.
What did they show you in the Super Bowl?
Seattle Seahawks.
I
know where it is. L.A. Chargers.
Okay, there's a legitimate thing. They got a quarterback that's up and coming. They could be a problem.
Green Bay Packers.
There's too much turmoil in here. All of a sudden, this is all turning. Man, these are the teams you want to be.
You know what? They're going 12-4.
Right now, based on what you just told me, it's the ones that you didn't mention. Tell me the dogs on the schedule. That's the team.
Dallas Cowboys, Philadelphia Eagles,
Scared of both those.
New York Giants,
Scared of them.
Atlanta Falcons.
They're sneaky. They're sneaky. Ryan's still got a few good games left.
Carolina Panthers.
See, that's got the whole Carolina thing. What happened last time they played?
Yes.
It's always going to be a revenge game.
All right, Denver Broncos.
Broncos, that one you got to go. Could go either way. I don't have a good feeling.
Las Vegas Raiders.
Vegas Raiders. And right now, this is why they're doing a special, so we can find out where or when that game is going to be played. And is that game in Vegas?
That game is in Vegas.
Oh, see, that's going to be tough. Team goes to Vegas?
Yeah, you lose focus.
What do you think? I mean, you got to wonder. You're in Las Vegas now. Where do they put a team when they stay in Las Vegas?
Yeah.
Not on the Strip, baby.
Well, they can't put them in. Where else? Where could you house somebody? Because you got to figure wherever they stay, there's got to be gaming machines downstairs, right?
Get some sweet action.
There got to be some people downstairs where that action is.
Nice.
Is there some people down there that are professionals that do all kinds of weird stuff if you pay them enough money?
It's Sin City, so
Yeah,
Houston
there's a
may have a
reason.
band. It's a reason. It's called Sin City.
That would be that I don't know. Did they? Is this the first year that stadium will open? They didn't play out there last year, did they?
Do
you know that off the top of your head?
No, they were still in L.A.
Yeah, so
They were still in LA.
They'll be opening that stadium this
They
year.
are.
So no team has gone to Vegas. That's going to be interesting, seriously, I would think. Although, most teams are together enough, but still, you're going to, I'm guessing, unless there's some, I can't think where they're going to stay in Honeydew or something like that. I think it's 30 or 40 miles north of Las Vegas. That might be a possibility, but still,
they
guess
can't
what?
do Honeydew. They better be in Honey Don't. That's 50 miles out.
That's true. That's another town. I think there's some town named Cantaloupe. I don't know. There's some town in Nevada that's named after
Melonhead.
a melon. Yeah. But I'm just thinking, no matter where they go, there's going to be gambling. There's going to be gambling, which, some of these guys, there's nothing they'd rather do.
Hell,
than
gambling may be the least of their worries. All the vices come into play out there. Just saying. So to put a bow on this amazing schedule, there's a 3-hour special tomorrow night. They're going to break it down every way you possibly can. And all of the networks had the opportunity this morning. ABC, CBS, NBC, Fox, all in their morning shows, they all had
previews.
They were given favored nation status, and they were allowed to reveal the week 1 schedule because it's like Christmas that first week, and what's going to be the matchup for the opening night game, which is always a big deal.
Always the Super Bowl champ against somebody, isn't it?
Correct.
So that'll be Tampa Bay on Thursday night against somebody?
Indeed.
Well, it'll be interesting. I don't know. When I say interesting, personally, of course, I played 14 years. This doesn't exactly raise the hair on the back of my neck. And I got to be honest with you, I can't imagine if you are somebody that this does raise the hair on the back of your neck, you need to see a psychiatrist or at least a psychologist or get yourself on some drugs because I think that's the way to go, like I said. So, I don't quite get it myself, Todd. I mean, personally, whatever floats your boat, as the saying goes. I probably won't be watching. In fact, I know I won't be watching.
Will Coco watch?
We'll be watching Say Yes to the Dress.
Yeah, she'll be watching Monte. Yeah,
John Riggins has changed.
Yeah, hey, got to go with. Like I just said,
got to go with the ladies.
Got to go with the ladies, whatever they want. So, I guess that's it, folks. Riggo.